Welcome back. Today we're coming to you from our new live Studio 9. Today our video is going to be on potato gnocchi. Now potato gnocchi are the traditional dumpling that hails from the north of Italy, utilizing a baking potato, a dry starchy potato. We're going to take these, we're going to mix them with a little bit of all-purpose flour, a little bit of egg yolk, and then we're going to roll them, turn them into dough, shape our gnocchi. You'll see. This is going to be awesome.
Okay. Our gnocchi starts, like I said, with this Idaho potato. We chose this potato because it has a very low moisture content and a very high starch content. Now what we want to do, in my recipe, I like to bake the potatoes. I find baking the potatoes reduces that moisture content even further, and it gives us a nice fluffy potato that we can in turn mix with a little bit of flour and a touch of egg yolk to make our gnocchi dough. So we're going to start by taking these potatoes, giving them a quick prick on the outside to vent any moisture and steam. Some people, some chefs, choose to boil their potatoes and use the boiled potato as the basis for their dough. I like to bake them because I find the boiling method adds a little bit too much moisture back into the dough and you wind up having to use a little bit more flour. Now, we're going to take these pricked potatoes, we're going to put them into the oven, bake them until they are tender, then we're going to remove them and turn them into dough in the next step.
We're back. The potatoes have been baking for about an hour. Let's check to see if we are ready to go. Alright, they definitely feel nice and soft. Check them with our knife just to make sure. Absolutely, there we go. Alright, so potatoes are done. We're going to split these open. And we're going to open them up, kind of squish them, crush them in their jackets just to start letting them steam out. Now what we need to do now is take these potatoes and we're going to remove the flesh from the jacket. It is very important when we are making these gnocchi that we work fairly quickly. One of the things that we want to avoid is allowing this dough to cool down too much. So that starts with working with these potatoes fresh out of the oven so they stay as warm as possible. We're going to begin by scraping the potato flesh into our strainer. If we are in a restaurant, I'd probably using a food mill or a ricer for this, but we're not, so I'm using what I have. Now, because I want to keep my potato nice and warm, I'm going to go right back onto the sheet pan that I baked on. And we're going to just pass this through our sifter here until we get a nice fine potato pulp. Alright, there we have it. Our potato pulp. We're going to spread this out to kind of facilitate a little bit of that steaming action we're looking for. Now, we are going to season with a little salt. Potatoes, like most starches, can take an aggressive seasoning. We're going to hit it with our flour. Here we go. A little bit of egg yolk. And one of the things that we want to avoid is over mixing. So
in the first steps of mixing the potato, I try to do a fold and cut method with a bench scraper. And this allows us to incorporate our flour and our potato and reduce the risk of kneading and working the gluten in the flour and the starches in the potato too much. While we're doing this, we can also think about different flavors that we can add. Some people will add a little Parmesan cheese. I know my buddy Chef Tom would like to add a nice grate of nutmeg right now. Whatever you're into, you can certainly do. We want to consider not adding products that contain too much moisture, as that will increase the amount of flour that you'll have to add. Now we've got this nice kind of chopped up, and what I'm going to do is slowly begin to mix them with my fingertips. And you see the grains of the dough start to grow larger. We have smaller ones like right here, but we're also starting to form larger balls of dough as well. And once we get there, we know that we're almost ready to start a quick little mix and knead. So there we are. The dough kind of pats together. We're going to knead this really as little as possible. So just a little bit of kneading there. Good. Now we'll just kind of pick up all those little bits around the sheet pan. There we go. Okay. And we want to do this just until the dough looks evenly mixed. And that should do it. Alright. Before we shape our gnocchi, we want to give this dough just a little bit of time to relax. It's going to make rolling and shaping these much easier. When we get to this stage, we have to consider this dough does not age well. It has to be used, or has to be at least shaped today. Once we shape it, then we can freeze it and save it for later. But we have to shape this dough now. If we don't shape this dough overnight, the potato and the starches and the flours will begin to honestly turn into mush, oatmeal, and it is very, very difficult to work with the following day. So from here, we're going to shape these into a variety of styles, and from there we can either cook them for dinner tonight, or we can put them on the sheet pans and freeze them for whenever you feel like getting back to it. We're going to let this rest for 20 minutes. See you then. Alright everybody, we're back. We have let our dough rest for about 20 minutes. Still just a little bit warm, which is perfect. As you can see, I've transferred onto my work surface. And I'm just going to give this a light dust of flour, a little light dust on the top. And I've got my bench scraper from earlier, and we're going to cut these into small pieces that we can roll. Now that we have this, we can take them, a little more flour, and we're going to roll them out nice and even. Here we are. And in the restaurant, you want to work efficiently, so we'll take the next one. There we are. So now we have all of our gnocchi dough rolled out. The next move that we need to make is cutting and shaping. If we are making the most basic of gnocchi shapes, we'll take our dough And all we want to do is now we've got these lovely little pillows we can have. Move those over here. We can also cut them there. We want a little sass on our shape. We've got our handy gnocchi board right here. We'll put one on there and we'll push down with our thumb and kind of roll forward. So we can do this. And it gives our gnocchi nice little ridges. Excellent for holding the sauce and gives it a little bit of kind of uniqueness. A little shape to it, a little swerve. There we go. Continue doing this. One of my personal favorites right here. Here we go. If we don't like those, we can also take our gnocchi, and instead of doing a dimple, we can roll it and form it into kind of an elongated, ridged on the outside shape. There we go. Oh, we're not happy with those. Let's do one more shape. Come here again. No. Again, because we're working in the kitchen, we want to be efficient. Cut a couple of them at the same time. What you might see Italian grandmothers doing is rolling them off the back of the fork. Not as many ridges, but they're definitely a lot more pronounced, like that. I've got these nice little thick, rich dumplings. My buddy Max loves this shape. Also, let's take a little bit more flour. This one's a little bit more complex. We'll do that and that. Give it a crosshatch pattern. My old chef Daniele would just dimple and roll off, so we had a little bit more of a pronounced dimple on the back. Just like that. Nice and delicate. And there we are. I'll put those back on the sheet pan as well. Once we have this dough made, like I said earlier, we need to be able to shape all of them right away. The dough does not age well, so once we have our gnocchi cut, at this point, we can freeze them. A good thing about freezing them is we can cook them directly from frozen as needed, or we can cook them right away. One of the things I like to do is cook them, portion them, and once they have cooled down after cooking, we can saute them and get them kind of crispy on the outside and creamy in the middle. Gnocchi is one of my favorite things to make. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I look forward to seeing you next time.